Up next, we have Peter Gore, and after Peter Gore, we have Jake Mitchell.
Senator Daughtry and Representative Sylvester and members of the Joint Standing Committee on Labor and Housing, I remain Peter Gore. I'm still the Executive Vice President of the Maine State Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here to speak in opposition to just LB 460. I'm limiting my comments to that one bill, and I won't take up a lot of time. It might interest you to know in the last year, the Maine State Chamber of Commerce has picked up over 100 new members as businesses. 95% of those are probably small business. And by that, I mean under 20 employees, and probably 90% of them are under 10. And interestingly enough, a number of those, a fairly significant number are restaurants. And that's not the reason we're necessarily opposing this bill. But it speaks to the fact that many businesses and many restaurants in particular have felt the sting of this pandemic more than other businesses. And thus we're unsure why the financial burden of this particular piece of legislation is falling on the restaurant community. And there are questions that, as I think even the sponsor pointed out, that remain unanswered. For instance, what right would the employer have to ask for proof or verification of an exposure or a quarantine or anything else in order to qualify for the leave? The fact of the matter is as well that even though this piece of legislation includes a grant, the amended piece of legislation includes a grant to pay for it, I believe that businesses would have to upfront the cost of the 80 hours of leave that someone would be entitled to, and then have to seek repayment from state government for those costs. And many small businesses simply can't afford for that kind of payout. And actually, as part of the group that worked on the earned paid leave law, this was the whole function of the earned paid leave law, to give employees up to 40 hours to use however they wanted. I would add that once I heard the sponsor say, once the fund ends, it goes away. But my experience is once you extend a program that benefits folks, it's very difficult to shut that off, even when the money goes away. And then the last thing I'd say is this, that if someone believes that they have been exposed to COVID-19 in their workplace, they are totally within their rights to file a workers' compensation claim and seek coverage under the Act for that exposure and sickness. Their medical benefits would certainly be covered if causality can be proved. And furthermore, if they're out of work for more than the 7-day waiting period, they're entitled to indemnity benefits as well. So with that, I'll end my testimony there and be glad to try and answer any questions that you folks have. And I appreciate your willingness to sit through a very long day. Thank you.